Breaking news tonight, the coronavirus
cases soar across the country.
75 million people in New York, California.
Tonight, as COVID rates across the city rise,
workers considered essential are exempt.
On the front lines, ER doctors saying we are on the verge of a medical disaster.
The whole COVID thing, it had started to scare kids. It started being prevalent in the news. It started being what you read. It started being what you heard. We were actually going into spring break, and it was going to be personally my best spring break. We had field trips planned for every day of the week. Every single kid that attended club signed up for a field trip, and that was just something I hadn't done before. So we were really looking forward to the week of spring break. And then I remember we get the text message like, hey, we got to come in and have a serious meeting. And we came in and you find out the whole country was locking down. And instantly started thinking about my kids, and I was super worried. And I was like, whoa, this doesn't just affect me.
March 2020 was huge to our family. It was a huge change. The kids, they weren't just able to express themselves because they aren't around children their age as often anymore. So they kind of did clam up and forgot more or less how to be a kid.
I didn't know what this virus was and what was going to happen, and I didn't know if the schools were going to be shut down. So I was just kind of worried about that getting shut down and then not being able to work and not being able to pay my bills. And the kids knew about the virus. They didn't really understand what was going to be happening.
I felt worried because people are dying.
I think we know that we are a need in our community. Seeing how our community is being impacted, and these kids, at the end of the day, we're here for the kids, and so not being able to physically be there for them, we were just trying to hurry up and find ways to support them. So hearing that schools were going to be remote for the rest of the semester, and hearing through the news that places were closing and states were closing down, our organization decided to become an emergency child care facility for hospital workers and first responders.
After we got the healthcare program rolled out, I remember we did the essential workers, where anybody who was essential at that point, their kids were starting to come. And so slowly we started having from 10 to 20 to 30 kids. It was a strange time, especially to be around kids, because they all had their own fears or their own thoughts, and they just wanted to be kids too at the end of the day. They wanted to play, they wanted to use equipment, they wanted to do things like normal, because I don't think they saw the big picture. They didn't quite see what all the adults were seeing, and so it was tough to see them wanting to do things and then us having to bring it down and have such tight restrictions. Everybody just wanted to have fun, but it felt like it was a time where fun wasn't applicable.
Things moved quickly, getting approved as a child care facility and all the inspections that we had to go through, and then us seeing that our virtual programming wasn't going the way we expected. So then we jumped into Be Great Boxes, met with a food bank, organized ourselves with programming and supplies all within a week. The Be Great Boxes, our intention was to reach the kids that could not come to club. Whether they had parents working all day or we were at capacity and they're on a wait list, our goal was to help the kids in our community with the programming and then also with the food that they needed.
The Be Great Boxes were something that was offered to our family from Boys and Girls Club. They came with age-appropriate activities for each of the children. The Be Great Boxes included meals for the children as well, nutritional items, meals for lunch and snacks. They had juices and milks in there, and that helped me tremendously in regards to money and feeding the children, how much is being spent with them being home all the time.
Yes, we did get the Be Great Boxes every week, being together and doing activities together. They were able to build strategies on how to be calm, and one of the first Be Great Boxes that we received, I saw 2 skateboards and 2 helmets, and I was just like, wow. Whenever the kids got home, they were super excited. They ride their skateboards almost every day outside whenever the weather is nice. And it was great that they were able to give me that, because sometimes I'm not able to afford that extra helmet or that extra skateboard.
The Be Great Boxes allowed the children to work together and have some fun, learn something new, and gave them the instructions that they needed. I could focus on work, and it gave me some quiet time to do so.
Over the summer, we opened up at limited capacity. Then when the school year came up, we weren't really sure what districts were going to do or what the policy was going to be for schools, so we opened up after school club with limited numbers again. And when Thanksgiving came around and kids went back to remote learning, we became a remote learning facility for our members who were already signed up.
So when I got the news that the boys were going to remote learning, I was worried because I didn't know who was going to be doing the remote learning with my kids, because I'm a single mom and trying to have a job and doing remote learning, because I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that have to work and they have the struggle of having to find somebody or having to stay home and doing learning with their kids. So having the Boys and Girls Club help in that way, it did help me a lot, and not stressing out because I need to pay my bills. With their help, they were able to do remote learning with the boys.
Partly due to the safety requirements, we had to require kids to stay within one cohort, and so that would mean that we would group all the second graders together. And so if you were in second grade, now that is the cohort you are working with. Pre-COVID, let's say the second grader wanted to go with the third graders because they were doing cooking club or wanted to go to music, then they would kind of just up and go where they wanted to go. But with the new COVID regulations, now that kid was required to stay within their cohort, but because of that requirement, they were able to establish new friendships and new relationships that flourished, and that never would have happened pre-COVID because they would have been doing something that they were more interested in or doing something that they were more comfortable in. It was this edge that they didn't want to cross, but nobody ever asked them to push their own boundary, and now that they were being required to push their boundary, they were way more enthusiastic about doing new things that they had never been interested in before. They got to find new passions, they got to find new activities, new hobbies, new friends, and that never would have happened had we not had these new safety requirements.
Right now, we're home, my three kids and myself, so I don't have that adult interaction, that outlet to let some of those emotions go, some of those frustrations. I see my children struggling, meeting new friends, middle schoolers, elementary schoolers. I see their pain, I see their tears, and it definitely affects me in the same regard. I question myself as to, have I made the right decision for us? But to keep my children home safe is something that I had to do, not knowing all the facts of what exactly is going on out there. Does anybody really know what's going to happen in the future?
My kids actually come home and they feel that this is a great place to be able to come to every day after school. And Tony is the clubhouse director. He's a really big influence on my kids, and because they don't have much guys around with our family. So with our family, so with Tony around, he sets a good example, and he doesn't push away my kids. So he's always willing to bring them back and just to wish for a better day for tomorrow, that tomorrow's going to be a new day.
The Boys and Girls Club's future, at least at this Paul location, it has changed drastically because we're going to focus more on the relationships as well as the quality of the things that we do. With us being more intentional in the way that we train staff, with us being more intentional with the relationships that we're trying to give to kids, as well as provide the opportunity for them to give each other, the future of club is drastically different, because it's not just going to be this place where people show up sometimes and then sometimes they're not here, but there's going to be this intent to providing a service to people that allows for them to leave here a better human being.
I think club gave the kids a bit of normalcy back and gave them the hope that things were going to get back to normal, but I definitely credit the kids with being resilient and sticking through and adjusting to the changes that were going on, even though they didn't really understand them.
I know at the end of the day, Boys and Girls Club always wants to be there for every family, every kid, everywhere we can possibly be to help. That's what Boys and Girls Clubs wants to do. The community and the people within the community are the most important piece of what we do.